encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, come on. It's time for us to get some inspiration, some motivation, something to fire us up today to get us through our next trial, trivias, some of our next difficulties, hardship, and go from there. Remember, grab one good gold nugget, use it to help you get through your next issue, and don't be afraid to share. Pay it forward. Give it to the next person. Don't take it to the grave with you. All right, today's going to be an interesting one here. This guy here, he says that he made a death contract with himself, a death contract. Okay. Nope. He didn't use that as a metaphor. He actually says it was a real decision. He was either going to change everything completely and fix himself, fix the problems, or he don't need to keep living. So let's go and get started here with the podcast with, Cam Cordin. Come on in and join us, bud.
How you doing?
We're good. So, man, all right. I'm interested in this now. So you decided you're going to have a death contract. You're either going to fix everything or it's time to say goodbye to everything, huh?
That's right.
So, and I see you had 911 days. Was that your goal?
Well,
to get everything fixed by then, or?
Yeah. Well, basically, I was on my third marriage, and like literally that night, I believe it was April 17th, 2021, and just agreed on a divorce. I had a son from a previous marriage living with me. He was in high school. He had roughly 2.5 years left of college. So I walked outside, after this discussion. And at the time, a little backstory is, for all the marriages is I drowned myself in work and athletics. And I really fell in love like 25 years ago with jiu-jitsu, and I beat myself up with it. This was my escape method.
Yeah.
So I never ever had like an intimate relationship. I was present, but I was never there.
I get you.
And by 37, I started feeling like something was wrong. Like I was sore, and I was like, this, and it wouldn't go away. And then it started just getting progressively worse. And then at 42, it was catastrophe. I had nerve damage. My hands were totally numb. I had to get surgeries for it. It still didn't recuperate it. And that night at 44, I walked outside and I thought to myself I have 2.5 years, which is not roughly 911 days before my son goes off to college. I felt like 70 plus years old. I mean, every joint in my body ached. I couldn't sleep. And I tried the doctors. They gave me pills, some arthritic pills. They worked, but then it destroyed my liver. Then they wanted to push me on to pain pills, and I didn't want any of that.
Oh, I get you. Yeah. Now, with your body, the way it was going, you said felt like you're 70. Is this because of jiu-jitsu that the beating up and beating and sparring with that, or just not living right and taking care of your body?
Maybe a little. I always took somewhat good care of my body.
Yeah.
But I did it excessively, and I started at a young age with like competitive swimming, all American. Then I transferred into weightlifting, then jiu-jitsu, and I was always like pushing way past the edge and ignoring all the signals. And eventually the bills came due right around 37, the bills started piling up, and then the interest started going, but I kept going. I wouldn't tell myself that. And it was always the same pattern. I'd be in a marriage, and I didn't, I would just vanish, dive into work, then jujitsu. So I was present, but I wasn't. And eventually 42, 44, whatever, like it just got like every part of my life started really falling apart.
Yeah.
And, maybe too much drinking. I was smoking weed. And then it would just reach the boiling point that night. I walked outside. I did the math in my head. And it was a, beautiful night in Florida. And the moon was shining down, and I saw the kettlebell I hadn't used in maybe a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I did the math, and I said, you know what? If I can't fix myself, I'm taking that kettlebell into the pool, walking in for one last time. And at that moment, the part of me that was, I realized I had like an unbelievable feeling of calm. I felt good, knowing that there was an end. And it wasn't like I was giving up, but knowing that there was an end date for this, if it wasn't going to be fixed.
Yeah.
I felt like I might not have had cancer, but you know what? The feeling wasn't any different. It was a terrible feeling. And at that point, on that pool deck, the guy that he was dragging me through all this, the guy that would keep going, the guy that was drinking, smoking weed, literally that night on the pool deck, he died. And it was like, I said, I can't take you here. I can't take you on this journey anymore. You got me in this mess. It's over. Yeah.
Now, part of this, let me ask this, because you started off with your body hurting and pain, everything, felt like 70-year-old, but that wasn't just the problem. It's the failed marriages, the failed lifestyle, like you said. It's a combination of everything just finally collapsing on you.
Everything at once, including work too. And
yeah. Okay.
So it all just piled on me.
Yeah. I understand the seeing that 911 days and you going, all this will be over with. There'd be no more pain, no more frustration, no more, because I did attempt suicide 3 times in 3 days. Is how bad I wanted out. And fortunately, I was a failure at that. Right. And so I do understand that your thought pattern there, knowing when you got calm saying, I'll give it all I got for the next 2.5 years. But if it doesn't work out, I know the pain and suffering will be over with. Not that I'm condoning it, not that I'm wishing that you had gone that far, and I'm glad you didn't. Okay. But I do understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they mean well, they mean good, but if they haven't experienced this ease of knowing everything's over with, they really don't understand. And, but I can say I've been there. So, all right. Okay. So you're finally looking at your kettlebell and telling your, like you said, the other part of you that brought you where you're at can't come on your journey. So what happened after that now?
After that, I started researching. I was always really into alternative health. I always experimented. I have a background in system dynamics. So I really started investigating, different protocols, what works, what doesn't, peptides, really controversial things. Some worked, some didn't. What didn't work, that was quickly eliminated, but I was willing to try basically anything. And towards the end, the things I found that worked, are really the big pillars of the system.
So, yeah, we're all different. Yeah. So what may have worked for you may not work with me.
Right.
But there may be a similarity of different things, little bit of this, little bit of that. But yeah, so we have to find our own way of what's working. And like I said, some of it's trial and error. Some things didn't work, so you said, "All right, get rid of that. That's not helping." But yeah, some of it's trial and error until we finally come up with a good game plan.
Mm-hmm. And I really started with uh, basically starting from the basics. I looked at everything from water consumption, posture, breathing, and really started going from there. I started with an empty slate system, and it's one of my big pillars in the book is you problem solve not by addition, it's by subtraction. You just have to start everything out. And I always like to tell people is that if you don't subtract your problems, if you don't see it and you don't start subtracting, God will do it for you. And he takes and he starts subtracting with the chainsaw in his hand. So you have the choice to do it.
I like that.
Yeah. So you start simple, and a lot of the book is about systematizing it. And I think if it's too complex, like in today's world, everything is complex, it's going to break. And simple systems always outperform these super complex ones. So if you're already broken, you don't start adding new variables to the system.
Mm-hmm.
You got to start from scratch and go from there.
And you may not be able to get everything all at one time out of your subtraction.
Yep.
It may be two or three things now, get an adjustment to that, and then add something else in a month or 3 weeks, and then subtract something else later.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it all at one time. Then you got all these why you're feeling bad for not getting what you've been used to getting.
True.
So you got to learn to do a little at a time, and then those saying that the baby steps big up to big steps, is true. Yeah, start off with your little stuff, get adjusted to it, and then all that you look back in a year, you see how big of adjustment that was made. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other aspect too. I really talk about, and this can apply to anything, is that you have to be compatible with your system. It's not, you can't design it with the idea that you can do this on your best days. It's like, what can you do on your worst days? And when you systematize it and you have all the contingencies, you follow the system and you become part of the system and you're persistent. And it's great for someone that, gets on a system and he follows it for 2 weeks, but then he falls off a cliff because he realizes it's a little too ambitious. So you have to be honest with yourself when you design the system. I think that's really important, and most people aren't. They, even from every day, they have their to-do list, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then at the end of the day, they might get 10% of that list done, and then they feel disappointed.
Yeah, that's at the beginning of the new year. Everybody get all these new resolutions, and then 3 weeks later, they then burn themselves out because they started off too fast, too much at one time, and too fast. Instead of, like you said, taking a few things away from me and let's add something different.
Yeah, and the New Year's resolution is like the opposite of my theory is that you should be subtracting.
Does that work? The New Year's rarely works. So
it never works.
Yeah.
Unless you have to subtract something for something you're going to add.
You definitely got
in today's world.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely got to lighten your load to be able to add more to it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, did you find that you needed a support group? Your children, wife, ex-wife, friends?
I never told anyone any of this.
Okay.
Until I got remarried. I I told my wife, and she's like, "Oh, you got to write about this. This is
Hmm.
great story." But I did it on my own, and I think the motivation was, the death contract is, when you have that, that was motivation enough for me.
Yeah.
And like I have to be honest, is every day, every morning, I would visualize that death, and it would make me alive because I didn't want to die, but I wanted to live, but I knew I couldn't keep going on living if I didn't change.
The way you were. Now,
Yeah,
roughly how much were you weighing at this time? I mean, I know you said you were athletic.
yeah.
So,
I always my weight always fluctuates between maybe 170 and 180.
okay.
It's in the last 10 years.
Okay. Only reason I'm asking that because I see where you were going with the carnivore
Yeah.
dieting, eating. So,
Yeah.
so if you're already at 170, 180 athletic, what got you into the carnivore?
Well, it got me into the carnivore is I was always a meat heavy. For like the last 17, 18 years, I only eat dinner,
Mm-hmm.
just one meal a day. And when I met my wife, we were out, we went to a steakhouse, and she was only eating steak. And she told me, I just eat meat. And I said, interesting. And I was curious about that because
You
I would
said
always
you
eat like,
said you're gonna eat that tater.
yeah. And I never really, like I always, since childhood, I always was a big meat person,
Mm-hmm.
meat based, but I always believed that you needed the fiber to use the bathroom.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
so when I found out about it, she told me, she's like, no, if you eat enough fat, it digests. And I was like, this is interesting. And I was sold right away because I love meat. There's nothing more in this world I love than meat.
yeah.
So I was sold on the spot. And I did notice right away more energy, uh, better thinking, and my body was pretty much already pretty close to perfect at that point. I wouldn't say perfect, but I definitely felt the difference in my joints.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing of all is my stamina went through the roof because I didn't change anything, and all of a sudden, in a couple of weeks, it was through the roof. And realistically, I probably put on weight from the carnivore because I was really when I met my wife, I was like sickly lean because I was probably just not eating enough.
Uh
And
huh.
I would eat the same meal every day during those 911 days. I was eating the same meal. I was having pound of beef, an avocado, a protein, two protein shakes, and a bowl of fruit every day. And I did look terrible. I was really lean, but I did look really bad. And as soon as I switched off to the carnivore, because she took photos of me before and after, and I looked like I reversed my biological clock by 10 years.
There you go. What's your wife's name?
Anna.
Anna. Well, let's give her some credit here for you
Oh,
because,
yeah.
again, I'm a big believer everybody should write a book. So I'm glad she suggested getting your journey and your story out there. And Anna, yep, I'm liking her nutrition guide here for you too as well. That she recognized that you may be a handsome devil, but you could be a healthier handsome devil.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, Anna, I appreciate you stepping up with her. She needs to get some credit here.
Oh,
So,
no, she has credit. I mean, she was like that was the final part of the whole system that really
yeah,
makes
yeah,
it worthwhile.
that's good. It's good. I've last 2 years tried some of the keto dieting, and think I'm switching more to the carnivore. Okay, um, from that, I grew up with the old thing. I'm a bread holic and I'm definitely a potato holic. And
Uh-huh.
having to learn all that starch and everything we don't need.
No.
And and the reason I jumped 2 years ago, my doctor did the A1C on me and said I was an 8.7 type 2 diabetic. And they wanted me to start off on pills. All of a sudden, the doctor always a pill first. And
Yep.
I love my new doctor. But I said, I'm one of them. I want you to be perfectly honest with me. I said, before you suggest a pill, you need to be going, James, your fat ass needs to lose 20 pounds, and let's see what happens after that. And so, well, I've lost 60 pounds from
Wow.
doing what I've done, and my A1C went from 8.7 to 5.5. Okay. And so I'm like you, I do eat two meals a day though. Do the 16, 18-hour fast intermittent, and things have gotten better. So I'm just interested to hear more, about the carnivore, and uh, but I think I'm going more towards that.
Oh,
So
it's a great diet. And there's, your diet preferences change while you're on the carnivore too.
yeah,
For when I first got on, I was smoking a lot of like brisket and I wasn't trimming it, eating the fat,
yeah,
short
that's right. Yeah,
ribs.
that's what I'm learning. That fat is not as bad as we think. Now, before we go any further, people, listen to this. Consult your diet doctor, your own physician. All right, dietitian. Don't take what Cam is saying. I'm saying as the word of it. You do what's best for you and what your doctor suggests. We're just telling what's worked for us. Okay, so don't sue me. All right, so all right, but yeah, I'm going into that. So now, what's this other cold exposure? What's going on here with that?
Well, the cold exposure, I think it really started in 2008.
Uh-huh.
I was in Lake Tahoe and I lived there, and I was driving and I saw the lake and it was a snowy day. And I said, you know what? I stopped the car. I walked out there and I went in the water, dunked my head, and it was like the first time in my life, like I felt a moment of calm. It was cold, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it was such an amazing experience. And I started going a couple times here and there when I was there, but my body felt fine. It gave me peace of mind because I probably
Hmm.
hadn't had peace of mind for a long, long time. And then fast forward to the 911 days, I was doing ozone therapy. I had an ozone machine and I was doing it. And temporarily, for like an hour or two, I felt it. Like I felt good. I could fall asleep for a little bit. But, it would wear off pretty fast. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I can trap this gas by sitting in cold water.
Hmm.
And I started looking for cold plunges, and they were ridiculously expensive. And I was like, Jesus, they wanted like 12, 15,000 for a cold plunge.
Yeah.
And then eventually I found an alternative and I bought a deep freezer, sealed it up, put some pumps in, and put an ozonator in to clean the water. And I started going into that. And I started being like really obsessive with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was doing it, first day it was a minute and I had it cold, as cold as it could go. And I was going, and then finally one day I went in and it was like maybe a week after I hit the 8-minute mark, and the water was roughly probably like 32, 33 degrees.
Hmm.
And I felt pretty good. And I said, okay, I'm going to go by the pool deck. I'm going to, catch some sun while it's still there. It was late in the afternoon. And while I'm lying there, all of a sudden, like I started feeling like it wasn't cold on the outside. It was a deep cold on the inside. And I'm lying down and I said, oh my God, something's really wrong. And I said, I'm going to die. That's what I was thinking in my mind. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And later I found out it's called the after drop. But it was one of the most peaceful moments I've ever experienced in my life while this was going on. It was terrifying, but at the same time, it was really beautiful.
This is when you hit the 8-minute mark.
Yeah. And then I fell asleep, passed out. I woke up and I felt so unbelievably good. And I kept doing the cold plunge every day, and I'd hit up to 30 minutes. And sometimes I do it 2 to 3 times a day. And I noticed like pretty fast within like a couple of weeks, my body was feeling good and I still was training really heavily. And I kept doing it. And like every day I was doing, 20 minutes at least once a day and sometimes more. In the morning, I jump in there and I became addicted to it. And it fixed my body, but it also started really working on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that, people tell you to meditate. It's great. I'm not knocking meditation.
Yeah.
But you're in a dark room, it's quiet, that's great. But, to be calm in the real world, you're never going to have those situations. But when you're in the cold plunge, it's cold. No matter how many times you do it, I still do it. I'm going to do it after this podcast. It's a struggle each time. It never gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to control your mind. It is like probably doing the cold plunge is the equivalent of hundreds of years of meditation, because you have to really control your mind. You have to control your breath. And it really teaches you not to panic. And that was also one of my rules in the Savage Chill in the book that I live by, is the no panicking and no whining. And it really emphasizes, like, it teaches you can't panic, and the best way to learn not to panic is by putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations on purpose.
Yep.
So it really worked on my mind. It calmed me. And it just was, I can't speak highly enough about it, besides like what it does to your body and the chemical reaction it has in your body. But like it resets your nervous system.
I can also see where you're learning to be disciplined,
Yeah.
especially with yourself, and to also, like you said, control, to control your breathing, to control your mindset, to do the what's the old saying, mind over matter,
Yeah.
and so you're having to go, man, this is cold. I got to get out, and you go, wait, let's do it another minute, and to do that. So, like I said, a lot of benefits in it. Not that I want to experiment with it right now, but but I do understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really, it's a powerful, look, it's one of those things that in today's world, everyone looks for comfort. It's not comfortable, but it's one of those things that makes you enjoy comfort more and appreciate. Mm-hmm. And I think if you always strive for comfort, even eventually the comfortable will become uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think you have to, as a man, on purpose, choose discomfort. That should be part of your training. I think that applies to everyone, because eventually life will hit you back and you won't be prepared for it, because you've never experienced discomfort.
Exactly. Life's coming no matter whether you're prepared or not.
Yeah.
So it's better for us to be prepared as best as possible. So
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, now let's get to your kettlebells. All right. So got in there working out with them, hadn't touched them in a while. And now you're going, all right, it's you and me, buddy. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, basically I started with just strictly the cold plunge. And as I started extending the times, and it became really difficult. And of course, being a total psycho I am, with the cold plunge, I started dumping Epsom salt in to bring the temperature.
To get it even colder.
Yeah, to get it even colder. So it was at 26, 28 degrees. So we're talking really cold. And, when you hit like after a certain amount, time, like maybe 15 minutes, all of a sudden the warm-up became really hard. It was, the actual warming up phase was even worse.
Yeah.
Because your body keeps dropping when you get out. So I saw the kettlebells and I said, you know what? My body was feeling okay. And I said, I'm starting this because I need to warm up. I'm sick of taking all day to warm up from this. So I started the kettlebells. I started regaining the strength. And in return, my joints even started feeling better. It was good for my mind, good for the body. So I started doing that religiously, adding to it. I started getting stronger and stronger. It relieved the pressures on the joints. And it was basically the cold plunge that caused me to do the kettlebell.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things is when you get out of the cold plunge, you do have all those chemicals going through you. And it's like you have this, like you're like a predator. You know what I mean? Like you have so much adrenaline going, the norepinephrine going through your body, and you feel so good. You can grab the kettlebell and it's like you want to do it, first of all, because no one truly enjoys starting a workout. You know, they warm up, they do this. I'm getting out of the cold plunge and it's, after 15 minutes, whatever, you're like, I got to move. And I'm not going to run because I don't like to run. So I grab the kettlebell, no warm up needed. You're just ready to go. And you're just doing it for one, it's like a survival mechanism. Two, it's a great way to do it. But if I had to do the kettlebell before the cold plunge, I probably would skip a lot of sessions. But like you get out of the cold, you're already thinking like, I'm not missing this. No way.
Well, you're trying to kickstart that heat energy in your body.
Yeah. So you're ready to go, like you don't need the motivation. And I think that's one of the things, I know a lot of people thrive on motivation, but I think if you design your system right, you don't need motivation. Motivation shouldn't be your, like what you need to do something. So I think like that's part of the structure is like, I'm going to do it not because I like the kettlebell. I don't. I'm going to be honest. But after the cold plunge, I'm going to do it because I want to warm up. I do like that.
It goes back to the discipline. So to be able to do it, motivation to get you so far, then discipline takes over for you to continue. Because I can be motivated for a minute and a half listening to something on YouTube, okay, or on a podcast. But to continue on more than that takes a discipline to continue on.
Yes, I agree. And I think and you probably, like I was motivated to do the cold plunge because the results were there. And when you start seeing results, there is no need for motivation. And then and you start following it, then I added the kettlebells because it made the cold plunge, so to speak, easier. So, I mean, I designed the system so it wasn't like I'm not punishing myself, so to speak. They all kind of fit together. Like I wouldn't do the kettlebell without doing the cold plunge.
I get you. you. So, well, it's pretty cool. I'm glad that we got to talk about some of this and meeting Anna by name, but I'm glad that she's been your supporter, again, giving you some advice. So,
and she actually follows the system too.
Oh, okay, good. So y'all are workout partners with this. So
and just to give her background is I met her and she's a professional ballroom dancer, and she's had lots of surgeries, ankles, and was beat up. And I started putting her through the cold plunge, kettlebell, everything. And her recovery, energy, she couldn't sleep for a long time. Like everything was part of the system. So like I saw it firsthand with her. And when the results are there, she's willing to do it. And I think that's the whole key with anything is when you see results, you're going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't see results, naturally you're not going to do it. It doesn't make much sense to keep doing it if the results aren't there.
You said at the age 44 is when you decide to make this contract with you. So now how old are you now that you've been able to continue this?
I am 49.
Okay. So, all right. So moving on still with it. That's good. So I hope you make it another 49. I had to put you way up there. But Yeah, we'll hope you continue on as long as possible. Uh, I could tell with your smile and with your enthusiasm that you have found something that's working for you, and I'm glad that you're willing to share it out with other people.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, personally, I think the book, every man should read the book. There's always something you can get from the book. I
What's the
mean,
name of it?
it is Savage Chill, Die to Live. I think
Okay.
it's a must for every man, especially in today's world where there are 17-year-olds that need to buy Viagra. I mean, men have become soft. I don't think this is controversial at all. And they need to step up to the plate. And,
Times
it's
are different, that's for sure.
what's that?
Times are different,
They're,
that's
they're
for
very
sure.
different. And I think
And I don't know if it's for the better from what I see. I could be totally wrong. Things would be going as smooth as possible. But again, like you said, a 17-year-old shouldn't need any enhancements in
no.
that area. But yeah, it's happening and something's not right. And they need an uplift with that testosterone to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the big root of it is it's this constant comfort.
Oh yeah, exactly. They've been through life and it's been so easy for them with I mean, I can't talk a lot about this because I don't have children, but I think parenting has been too relaxed,
Absolutely.
and and I think things I believe are going to be making a change here in a little bit to get that strong man back. So
Hmm.
so
Yeah. So,
and
I mean, so far I've had some 18-year-olds up to 22 really embrace this. And, I mean, it's like they're all asking for something like this because parents aren't there to give it to them. There is no one really with the voice to speak the truth and be harsh at times. Everyone gets a trophy.
yeah, yeah. But I remember the first time I heard that, I was going, "What? No, no,
Yeah.
no. Only the ones that deserve it, should be getting them. I mean, if you want to give a one, say, thank you for showing up, okay. But these other people ought to be getting the special awards because they were better. And you just treat teaching people in life, you've got to work hard and do better than the next person if you want to get the next raise. It's not just going to come to you. I was a school teacher for a while, and one thing I've come to learn is the don't want to say trouble child, but the ones that were having issues, the biggest thing that they lack, and they were really desiring structure
Yes.
and discipline. And they really were wanting that, but they didn't know how to ask for it or didn't know to ask for it because it wasn't given to them early. So but
Yeah.
once they were getting that and learning it, they made big changes in life. Yeah.
Everyone
So
needs structure.
yeah. But yeah, it gives you guidelines on what to do and not do. So if nothing else. So
Yeah.
all right, Cam. Hey bud, I appreciate you being here. And maybe next time we get together we'll talk again and we can have Anna in here to say hey to everybody. So
Okay.
all right. Hey, go ahead and give your website, mention your book again, anything you got courses or coaching you got going on.
Yeah, I have a website. I do coaching. A website is savagechillstyle.com. There's a link for my online school. I think I just launched it, just finished it very short, a couple days ago. And the book just came out today. It's,
Oh,
uh,
really?
yeah, just on Amazon. And that book is Savage Chill, Die to Live. And I think if anyone was looking to start, it's on the book, and I think it really breaks down the whole structure of it. And I think that the mentality you have to have in today's world to get ahead, whether even if your life is perfectly fine, but you just need structure, especially as men, to get ahead, not to burn out. And I think the book is it's phenomenal. It's a great. It's not a super long read, and I think that the moral of the story, and I mention it in the book, in not so many words, is that the problems you're having are not new in the world. Nothing is really new in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had the similar problems. Someone has a solution, and the only way to really find it is to persevere. You cannot not try. You cannot be a victim. You have to keep going, no matter what.
There you go. And before we go, let me do this one thing here, because you did say the magic word persevere. So look on the screen and give you a fist bump. All right. You did say persevere. So, all right. Cam, hey, I appreciate you being here. And we'll put that information in the show notes for people to find you a little easier. And I think you're talking me into me trying to get a book from you, ordering a book. So
Well, I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Other than that, hey, we know people are hurting and struggling today. If you can leave us with a positive message, that'd be a blessing.
I think the message is just keep going, keep trying, and keep what works, eliminate what doesn't, and look for other people that have similar problems. And if you need motivation, there's someone much worse off than you, and they're still fighting.
Yep, that's I like the there's other people worse than you and they're still going. And so yep. I was in a trap in a bad place one day when I first got, I don't know if you know, I'm in a wheelchair, I got my neck broke playing football. And I was in a spot where I could move my legs. And I first rehab I went to, I saw the guy that was worse than me that couldn't even move from his neck down. And I was feeling guilty that I can move my arms and legs, even though I couldn't walk, but I can move my arms and legs. But then I saw another guy stand up and walk around, and he was a spinal cord injury. And I'm going, now I'm feeling bad because I couldn't do that. So that's it. Use somebody else's motivation to help endure your motivation, you know. So from there. So it's
Yeah.
beautiful, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody, share us out to someone you know that can use a little help here. Cam has gave you quite a bit, several gold nuggets to use. Everybody else, I'm Dr. James Purdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.